friends. This is Lyndsay. I am a coach. My coaching practice is Life Alchemy. My website's coachinglifealchemy.com. And I want to talk today about like stuckness and getting out of it. And before that, I just want to share that I am on the beautiful Oregon coast, and I am here through the eclipse on Monday. So if you want to see the eclipse, I'm going to Facebook Live it. And it's Monday morning at about 10:20. And one cool thing about the perspective I have with the eclipse is that since I'm on the coast, this is the first place, west coast, where the eclipse touches North America. And I'm also in the very center of the path of totality, so super cool. So pay attention to my Facebook if you want to watch through my eyes. Okay, so I think one thing I often hear when I work with people is that they feel stuck, or like nothing changes, or some aspect of their life is what it is and it just will never be any different. And I just want to speak to how that's such an illusion that us humans, I think, are the only beings on our planet that believe. Like, we're the only beings that buy into it and believe it. So if we all just kind of take a step back from our lives and look at like life, our universe, our planet, it's constantly evolving, changing. Like, trees are growing, grass is growing, things are expanding, shrinking. Like, everything around us is in a constant evolution. It's actually impossible to just stay the same. It's constantly moving. And if we take a deeper cut, all the pieces of life and nature have a purpose. And it just is that way. It's not, like if we think about a seed, if we plant it, it's gonna grow. That seed doesn't have to like effort or think like, man, I really hope I grow, I really hope I grow. It just will, because that's its purpose. It's its divine nature to take that on, and it just happens. And everything is that way. Like a little acorn isn't like hoping someday it could be a tree. Of course that's what it's going to be. And so if we apply the evidence of what we see around us in nature, in our planet, and let that be also true for us, think about like, what does that open up? For me, it opens up that change is natural and purposeful, and that I have a purpose. I have something that I'm made for, and I don't have to force it to happen. I can allow it. So if it's hard for me because I want to speak about like you, but it's me and it's all of us. So when we like take that deeper cut to see like, oh, it's not about my efforting or my forcing or my willing it. It's just who I am. I'm born for this. Everything is in a cycle. If I don't feel like that's happening with me, then it's a great time to look at like, what do I get to shift? How do I get to get into that flow? So I think sometimes it's a matter of looking at like, what's the nature of my stuckness? When I think about where I'm stuck, how does it feel? Does it feel like tight and like, because if that's the case, then probably it's a matter of letting go. Like surrendering, taking deeper breaths, like releasing. If the nature of the stuckness is like, I'm trying and trying and trying and I'm doing stuff and it's just not happening, then I would say look at like, if our outer world reflects our inner world, look at your inner world. Like, where are you up against it within yourself? What part of you are you not allowing to just be and be okay? So maybe it's confidence, maybe it's worthiness, maybe it's trusting yourself, trusting outward. So doing the inner work of like the block inside, because it's not just going to be about doing more, but there will also be things to do. So if we want to get out of a rut or get back into the flow of what naturally we are made to be and experience, sometimes I think it can be like reconnecting with your higher power, whatever that is. It could even be like the best version of yourself, if that's what's true for you. But also just looking at like, where am I blocked? Like, what am I not wanting to see? What am I avoiding? What messes do I have that I have not cleaned It could be actions that you know, like, man, I've not wanted to do this. Like it could be anything. It could be a conversation with somebody that gets to be had. It could be a broken relationship that you get to mend. It could be like your closet that's a total disaster, but you're relating to it like, oh God, I gotta do that. So the things in our life that are blocks or that we're avoiding, if you're stuck on it, it's gonna create stuckness. Like we can't expect to have this magical life of ease and flow and allowing great things to happen if we're living in stuck, avoid, head in the sand. And I think that's a fruitful conversation. Also, let's see. Also, I think that when we look at, sometimes I think it'll be like, wow, but I did these things and I tried these things and it felt all like, ugh, scary. Sometimes I think we collapse hard with new. Like, oh, I have a cat outside with me and she's blind, so she doesn't get to just roam free. This is Sophia. Well, this is an interruption, but hey, things are always changing. Okay, so I get back on track. Okay, so sometimes we think like, well, I did these things and nothing happened, or I did it and I felt awful, or it was so hard. And this isn't going to be about forcing or efforting. It's about allowing. So checking in, like, is this actually hard or is this just new? Like, what's the actual source of my discomfort? Because sometimes it's just new. And if you think about it, if I've lived in a rut all my life and all of a sudden I'm in wide open space, it's going to feel totally different. And my senses are going to say like, hey, where's my rut? This is uncomfortable. But discomfort doesn't mean bad. It can just indicate change. So try looking at those things. And I think also looking at, like, even in the universe, things are in cycles, but still there's all these surprises. Like, beautiful things occur and surprises happen. So like the eclipse on Monday, like, that's phenomenal. And to me, that's, for me, it's just an example of like, anything can happen. Like, my God, that's amazing. That our universe can shift itself in such a way that we get to experience such a unique, beautiful phenomena. And that is such a parallel to what's possible in our lives as well. So I take that as evidence. I think I'm going to end this here. I hope this supports in kind of climbing out and seeing what else is possible. And remember, I will be on Facebook Live Monday at 10:20. Have a great weekend, and thank you for watching. I'm having a hard time getting this to go off. It's always a fun end. So many surprises. Bye.